Next on Startup, we travel to Birmingham, Alabama to meet with Jeff, Jason, and Chris, three brothers born in the restaurant business who started Slice Pizza, a family pizza shop that's bringing foodies in from miles around. Then we head to Louisville, Kentucky to meet with Emily, who comes from a long line of Kentucky entrepreneurs and created Graceship, a company that produces multi-use laptop bags. All of this and more is next on Startup.
It all starts with an idea, and everyone has them. In the world of business, where you choose to take your idea determines where your idea will take you. Baker College is proud to support Startup and those who dare to share their ideas with the world.
The American small business was built on one thing: relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet, find new roads.
American Express is proud to support Startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.
My name is Gary Brado, and I'm a documentary filmmaker and an entrepreneur. The economy is in less than perfect shape, and when the jobs go away, there's nothing left to do but get up and get creative. And there are people all over America doing just that. It's estimated that up to 85% of new businesses fail. So I'm going coast to coast to hear the personal stories of the people who beat the odds and started a successful business from the ground up. This is Startup.
I'm on 29th Street in Birmingham, Alabama. We're gonna go talk to Jeff, Jason, and Chris, who created Slice. Now, this is not your average pizza joint. Let's go find out how these three brothers are reshaping the Birmingham food scene, one unique pizza at a time. The first documented U.S. pizzeria was licensed to sell pizza in 1905. Today, there are roughly 61,000 pizzerias in the U.S., representing 17% of all restaurants. Jeff, Jason, and Chris were first introduced into the industry as kids by helping out in their father's family restaurant. And after they each had a series of different careers, all paths led them right back into the food industry. Let's start by finding out who you guys are. Let's go down the line and tell us your name and a little bit about yourselves.
Jeff Bajalia, born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, went to John Carroll High School.
Chris Bajalia, born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama as well.
Jason Bajalia.
My father, when he first came to this country, started working for a place called Kelly's Hamburgers, which is not in existence anymore. And that's where he learned his trade. He came here in '65 and opened his first restaurant in '68. So, and we all started there as young children, you know, from 8, 9, 10 years old, washing dishes without dishwashers. So we learned the hard way. And
yeah, what was one of the biggest things that you can say that you learned from your father growing up?
Probably to take care of the customer and to give good service and quality product, and everything else would follow.
Did you guys take it over? Did that just kind of go away? Or
well, in 1998, the building was closed due to asbestos.
Oh, okay.
So he was forced to close down. And after he passed away, to kind of pay homage to him, we reopened Saul's across the street from its original location. And it's been there for going on 7 years now.
Tell me about Slice. How did it come about? Whose idea? Give me the whole inception from day one with this.
Well, I think it was more of a joint effort.
So they approached you and they said, we have this concept for a pizza place.
I can't remember it being quite that simple. They had a concept wanting this building because they liked this location, and we all talked about it and decided pizza would be a great idea.
Take something that's everyday, be creative with it, you know, source some things locally through local farmers, build a menu based around that.
Quite a unique situation being that it's at home. This is actually a home. It's not a shopping center. We're not an end cap in any particular place. So that adds to the uniqueness. And when we got a hold of the building, it hadn't been touched in any way.
And David, the property owner, did put some TI money in to help us as well with the structural issues and some of the cosmetic things we took care of and the structural issues he did.
Sure.
So it was a joint effort between us and the landlord.
What level of involvement do you have with Slice itself?
My involvement was basically on the front end.
Okay.
I mean, I paid to build the building out and put a little money in it and helped them get started, and they just took off and ran with it.
I heard that the place was pretty destroyed. What kind of build out are we talking about here?
700,000 maybe?
700,000? And you've made it all back in rent already, though.
Not all back in rent, but they're paying me what they're supposed to. That's all I can ask for.
Banks just aren't handing out money to small business.
They don't like restaurants for sure.
They wouldn't talk to us. It was all private funding.
Really?
Yeah.
Every bit.
Private funding, you went out and found investors.
Well, I mean, the landlord being one, and then, another friend being another, and then us coming up with our own personal money. And basically selling, our cars, living on just, scraping by just to order furniture for the store and stuff like that. I mean,
you really bootstrapped this place.
Right.
In short, the bank wouldn't talk to us.
This came from Woodstone. Obviously, it's tagged on there. And this pizza oven had to get craned in.
Craned in?
Because the house was so old and pizza weighs 6,000 pounds, the structural engineers would not approve us putting the pizza in the house. So the oven actually sits outside the house, but it's worked from inside the house.
According to foodservicewarehouse.com, a lot of new restaurant owners underestimate how much it costs to open a restaurant. In order to plan for unforeseen expenses, adding an additional 15 to 25% to your budget will help you get through that first crucial year. Let's talk about dealing with the city. That's another fear that people contend with.
Well,
no one wants to talk about that.
See, this is the good stuff. Now I hit the hot one.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The city of Birmingham and the health department obviously have their obstacles to overcome. Fighting them is not going to resolve any problems good for anybody.
I feel like you know that from experience.
But yes, without a doubt.
The biggest advice that I could give somebody would probably be call them before you get started. Don't get started and then call them. That's a huge thing I think people don't do. I mean, get them involved in the beginning, because if you get started and then there's something they don't want you to do, then there's another hurdle you got to come over.
You're feeding money into something that's not generating revenue yet, but people like the city or the health department don't take that into the equation and maybe not be sympathetic towards that kind of manner.
Slow-moving process.
Very slow-moving, and that's a big hurdle to overcome.
How about the beer, wine, liquor license?
Yeah, it's not so much upfront cost as it is the process. Background checks, neighborhood association approval, public safety approval, city council approval. There again, it just takes time.
How long did it take from the time that you came in with the lease all the way through getting everything that you needed and flipping the sign to say open?
A year and a half.
A year and a half.
18 months, yeah.
Longer than you expected?
6 months longer, yeah. We hoped to have it within 12 months, and it took us another 6 months.
In terms of a business plan, did you guys actually write a business plan for this?
I don't think we would have obtained our private funding without it.
It gave us a snapshot of where we needed to be on a week-to-week, a month-to-month, on a yearly basis in order to survive.
What does a small place like this have to make on a daily basis to survive?
We projected, and obviously if we did these numbers today, that we would not survive, that we needed to do $15,000 a week to survive.
$15,000 a week to survive.
Basically,
See,
a little over $2,000 a day.
It's not.
But it's not. It's
in this business.
Really? And that's before profit? That's what you need to survive.
That's our break even, yes.
Yeah, without a doubt.
This is a high stakes business.
It is.
Why Slice? I mean, outside of the obvious.
Outside of the obvious.
One word.
Easy, one word, to the point.
According to pizza.com, Americans eat approximately 100 acres of pizza a day, or about 350 slices per second. A little bit of cornmeal.
A little bit of cornmeal. You want to get some on yours as well. You can follow my lead.
Right. Mine doesn't look as glamorous as yours.
We go to the farmer's market or what have you and talk to different growers and stuff and tell them exactly what kind of ingredients they need, and sometimes they're able to Not always are we able to get what we want, so sometimes we have to supplement stuff from, you know.
Well, in season, out of season type of stuff.
Exactly.
But anything that's in season, you're going to try to get fresh.
Correct.
So would you consider yourself kind of a pizza connoisseur here?
I'm definitely a pizza connoisseur. I love eating pizza. So.
And what is it that makes this place different in terms of the pizza that they make?
The reason I like this pizza is everything's made natural, fresh. You can go to pizza chains and everything's kind of frozen or comes in plastic bags. Here, you know, they do everything from scratch, and that makes it unique. So,
what's your favorite one on the menu?
The super cheese. I love cheese pizza.
Do you think that's a really important thing to kind of, I guess, buy local, dine local, shop local?
I think people want to do the local things because it helps the local families, it helps the local shops, and therefore why send our money back to some major corporation in another state? Let's keep it Alabama, let's keep it Birmingham.
And how?
You want to make your?
Yeah, why not? How long does one of these bad boys take to cook?
About 4 minutes.
That's it, 4 minutes. So that keeps the food coming out of the kitchen pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Cheese, onions, bacon, and Wickles pepper rings.
Amazing. Let's talk about your charity work and community involvement.
Well, I tell you, that has been a big part of our success here as we reached out to the community, growing this thing. Every Tuesday we do a dough raiser. It was a way to reach out to them and say, hey, you know, if you bring your people in, we'll give back 10%.
Yeah, so it's brilliant because you're really kind of killing all birds with one stone.
That's
here.
right.
Doing great for the community, you're filling your restaurant, and not only that, but you're exposing this place to people that ordinarily maybe wouldn't have come here.
That's exactly right.
And you've seen it work.
We've seen it work. It has really grown. We're on about a 6 or 7 month waiting list for the charities to sign up.
What advice would you give to somebody else out there that wants to maybe not even get into the restaurant industry, but just open their own business, period?
I think a lot of people try and rush, and they have an awesome dream and great aspirations, and they know where they want to get, but they want it to happen overnight, and it just doesn't happen. We had told you earlier it took us a 1.5 years to get this place open. Well, by the time you're at month 16, you're so antsy, you just want to unlock the door and open, you just want to start making income. Well, if you fast forward a year from that point, I mean, what's another 2 weeks or 2 months even? Just make sure you have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed, because it'll
do
pay
it right.
dividends. Do it right. Do it right the first time, because first impression's everything. You only get one shot to your community, to your citizens that are going to come and support you.
There are a million ways to start a business, but how did Jeff, Jason, and Chris do it? Let's find out. They started with a combined $50,000 in the bank and an average credit score of around 700. They earned roughly $1.9 million in their first year, operating at a profit. It cost $800,000 to open the business, all of which came from a private investor. The one word that the guys used to explain what it takes to open a business is dedication. Jason, Jeff, and Chris found a tasty way to make some dough, and with the way that they run their business, I don't see much room for improvement. A lot of hard work and some vision, and you can get your pizza the American dream too. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Slice.
I think failure is critical to success. It's a great litmus test for how much you really want it. I think that failure could be disguised as something as negative, but in reality, I think you learn a lot about yourself, your passion, and if you really want, you know, what you're trying to achieve. I think behind every successful company, brand, product, there's a heart behind it.
Next time on Startup, we head to Madison, Wisconsin to meet with Brian, an avid fisherman who worked in mapping technology and created Fishity, a smartphone app that's helping fishermen catch more fish. Then we head to Minneapolis, Minnesota to meet with MJ and Susan, two artists and entrepreneurs who started iMusement, a company that designs fashionable and affordable eyewear. Be sure to join us next time on Startup.
That's another option for you.
Okay.
See, this might be a little bit more your color.
This one fits perfect. Oh, it feels good too.
Like it was made for you.
I feel very free.
Rolling? So I know we're on opposite sides of the fence, but why do you always gotta balk about what you do, huh?
American Express is proud to support startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet, find new roads.
The American small business was built on one thing, relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
It all starts with an idea, and everyone has them. In the world of business, where you choose to take your idea determines where your idea will take you. Baker College is proud to support startup and those who dare to share their ideas with the world.